Have you ever wondered what the past truly smelled like? Or what people ate for breakfast when water wasn't safe to drink? We often imagine history as a grand tapestry of kings, queens, and epic battles. But the real story, the one that connects us to our ancestors, is woven from the threads of everyday life. These are the forgotten details, the strange habits, and the ingenious solutions that made up their world. Today we journey back in time to uncover 20 forgotten facts about daily life that will fundamentally change how you see history. Let's begin in ancient Rome, not in the Grand Colosseum, but on Laundry Day. How did Romans get their togas so brilliantly white? The secret ingredient was urine. Yes, human urine. Its ammonia content acted as a powerful cleaning agent. Public urns were placed on streets for passers-by to contribute. These collections were so valuable that Emperor Vespasian even imposed a tax on them. So the next time you complain about Laundry Day, remember it could be a lot smellier, from cleanliness to the dining table. In our modern world, we often pay a premium for dark, whole-grain bread, associating it with a healthy lifestyle. But travel back to medieval Europe, and the tables are turned, quite literally. White bread, made from finely sifted flour, was a luxury reserved for the rich. The poor, on the other hand, ate dark, coarse breads made from rye or barley. The color of your bread was a direct indicator of your social standing. What did they drink with that bread? For many in the Middle Ages, the answer was beer. Water from wells and rivers was often contaminated and dangerous to drink. Fermentation, however, killed harmful pathogens, making beer a safer alternative. Even children would start their day with a small beer, a very weak brew with just enough alcohol to be safe but not enough to be intoxicating. It was the breakfast beverage of choice for entire families. While we're in the medieval period, let's journey north to the world of the Vikings. Often depicted as brutal raiders, their society had a surprisingly progressive side, especially concerning women's rights. A Viking woman could own property, inherit land, and run a business. Crucially, she had the right to initiate a divorce. If the marriage ended, she could reclaim her dowry, giving her a level of financial independence unheard of in many other parts of Europe for centuries to come. Let's rewind even further, to ancient Egypt, and explore a deeply personal aspect of life: pregnancy. How did an Egyptian woman find out if she was expecting? She would urinate on two separate bags of seeds, one filled with barley and the other with wheat. If the barley sprouted, it was said to be a boy. If the wheat sprouted, a girl. If neither grew, she was not pregnant. Incredibly, modern science has found this wasn't entirely superstition. The hormones in a pregnant woman's urine can indeed stimulate seed growth, though the gender prediction was, of course, a guess. Back to Rome, and into the bathroom for some ancient dental hygiene. What did a Roman use for toothpaste? Their recipe was a gritty paste made from a mixture of crushed bones, oyster shells, and ashes. While it sounds abrasive, this mixture would have been effective at polishing away plaque and whitening teeth. It's a stark reminder that the desire for a bright smile is nothing new. Now, let's talk about a more persistent pest: lice. Archaeologists excavating medieval sites often find finely crafted combs made of bone or wood. A closer look reveals a grim detail. They are frequently filled with the preserved remains of lice and their eggs. These combs were personal, treasured items, but also a constant battleground against parasites. They weren't just for styling hair, they were essential delousing tools, reused day after day. Before modern chemistry gave us neatly packaged soap bars, how did people get clean? The ancient Celts and later the Romans developed a basic form of soap by mixing animal fat, like tallow, with wood ashes. This produced a slippery, lye-based substance that could cut through grease and dirt. It wasn't the fragrant, bubbly soap we know today, but it was a revolutionary step in personal hygiene. Feeling hungry? In bustling ancient Rome, not everyone had a private kitchen. For the urban masses, the solution was thermopolia. These were essentially ancient fast food stalls with L-shaped counters holding large clay pots filled with hot, ready-to-eat meals. You could grab a quick lunch of stew, lentils, or spiced wine on the go. It was the world's original takeaway. While the common Roman grabbed a quick bite, the Egyptian elite had a different way of showing their status. Through scent. Wealthy Egyptians, both men and women, would wear cones of perfumed wax or animal fat on their heads at parties. As the day or evening wore on, the heat from their bodies would slowly melt the cone, releasing a continuous stream of fragrance that dripped down over their hair and clothes. It was a personal, mobile air freshener and a symbol of ultimate luxury. The next time someone sneezes and you say, "Bless you," you are participating in a tradition that stretches back to ancient Rome. The Romans believed a sneeze could expel your soul from your body. To protect the sneezer, they would say, "Jupiter bless you," or absit omen, meaning, "May the evil omen be absent." As Christianity spread, Jupiter was replaced with God, and the custom has endured for millennia. How did you wake up on time before alarm clocks? If you lived in Britain or Ireland during the Industrial Revolution, you might have hired a knocker-upper. This was a real profession. The knocker-upper would walk the pre-dawn streets, tapping on clients' windows with a long stick until they were awake. It was a human alarm clock, ensuring the factory workers got to their shifts on time. Imagine going to the gym, but leaving your clothes in the locker, all of them. In ancient Greece, this was the norm. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek word gymnos, which means naked. Athletes trained, socialized, and competed entirely in the nude. This practice was tied to their ideals of aesthetics, celebrating the beauty and strength of the human body. Roman engineering was legendary, but one of its greatest secrets was lost for nearly 2,000 years. Roman concrete, used to build structures like the Pantheon and the Colosseum, was incredibly durable. Scientists have recently discovered why. It had the ability to self-heal. When small cracks formed, rainwater would react with specific lime minerals in the mixture, creating a new calcite solution that filled the cracks and reinforced the structure. Let's return to the smells of the past. Medieval homes could be incredibly pungent, with smoke from the fire, unwashed bodies, and poor sanitation. To combat this, people would spread fragrant herbs like lavender, mint, and chamomile on their floors. Known as strewing herbs, they would be crushed underfoot as people walked, releasing pleasant scents that helped mask the less pleasant ones. It was a simple, organic form of air freshener. And what about sanitation itself? The Romans are famous for their public latrines, but the experience was far from private. People would sit side by side on long stone benches with no partitions, conducting business and conversation. Even more striking was the cleaning method. A single sponge attached to a stick, called a xylospongium, was shared by everyone to clean themselves after use. It would be rinsed in a channel of running water before the next person used it. From the practical to the delightful. What about dessert? Long before freezers, the wealthy nobles of Renaissance Italy enjoyed a form of ice cream. They would send servants up into the mountains to collect snow and ice, which was then stored in deep, insulated pits. This ice was mixed with fruit juices, honey, and spices to create frozen desserts called sorbetto. It was an extravagant and refreshing treat for the privileged few. Across the world, on the vast steppes of Asia, the Mongols had a very different kind of delicacy. Their national drink was, and still is, kumis. This is a fermented alcoholic beverage made from mare's milk. It has a slightly sour, effervescent taste and a low alcohol content. For nomadic cultures like the Mongols, it was a vital source of vitamins and nutrients, especially during the harsh winters. In 18th century France, communication became an art form. The elite didn't just write letters, they curated an entire sensory experience. Each person might have their own custom-blended perfume, and they would scent their stationery with it before sending a message. The recipient would recognize the sender by the fragrance even before reading the words. It was a way to express personality and intimacy across a distance. Finally, let's journey to feudal Japan. While soap existed elsewhere, traditional Japanese culture had its own unique methods for cleaning. For personal hygiene, people would use small cloth bags filled with rice bran. When wet, the bran releases a milky, cleansing liquid that softens the skin. For tougher cleaning jobs, they used volcanic ash, whose fine, abrasive particles were excellent for scrubbing pots and floors. From urine laundry to self-healing concrete, the daily lives of our ancestors were filled with a creativity and resilience that is both startling and inspiring. These small, forgotten facts don't just entertain us, they connect us to the shared human experience across time. They remind us that history isn't just out there in dusty books. It's in the bread we eat, the words we say, and the very act of waking up in the morning. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you found these stories as fascinating as we did, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more forgotten history. We'd love to hear which facts surprised you the most in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.